because we cannot do it all alone. We really tried. We went to City Hall, we protesting, and nothing has been done. We went to the Court Street building and in the what her name again, downtown, Justin's office, and she sent someone to talk to her, to all of us, and make promises like she did before. She promised to meet with us, and she didn't attend to the meeting. And all of my students have a lot of concern that we would like her to hear about some very strange thing happened to them during the school year, and that affect them a lot, because to learn you have to be feeling very comfortable, you have to feel safe to learn, and we don't have that. In the Community Academy of Science and Health, we don't have safety for our students. And this is the major problem that we are facing actually. And on top of that, we're gonna have the budget cut, which is gonna cut most of our program that can help the new learners. Because we were not born in English, and we need more support. We need to be very peaceful. We need to be very, we need to feel safe to learn. Because I'm learning here, and if my teacher has something and she have to stay or he have to stay home, they send someone who don't even really speak Creole to teach us, and that person just give us a sheet of paper. We spend the entire day doing nothing in the classroom. I don't think it is appropriate for new students, for new learners in any kind of language. So we are really looking for help, and I hope everybody will be able to understand our concern. They might don't look very very serious, but they are serious, because by me saying it, by they saying it, like when they say that, you don't really look serious. If you go to our school and you spend a day and you see the way things going on in the school system, in cash in particular, you will see that there's a lot of things that have to be done. You don't want your child to go to a school that after school he has to get beat up, after school they have to spill on he or her face. So we need more, we deserve more than that. That's why we are here today. Okay, so we need to have support from the community. Thank you.
And just to put a plug in for Kerwin, that they do have a, is it 7-point plan?
Yes.
Platform that they would love to be able to address, and we can hear more about that at the school summit on Thursday.
In the absence of our president, Nora Tony, who is at a parent meeting this afternoon, I'm going to speak on behalf of the Black Educators Alliance of Massachusetts, better known as BEAM. We are a part of this coalition and completely committed to the purpose and the mission of the coalition. Since its inception, BEAM has consistently advocated for equity and excellence in education for all students, and particularly students of color. We are a part of this group because we're extremely concerned about the proposal that will be placed before the school committee for a vote in June. We are opposed to it because it flies in the face of all the principles that we think we should abide by as it relates to fairness. We find that the proposal really goes backwards and does not address the policy that the school committee voted in June of 2006, a policy that was to deal with the achievement gap, or better known as the opportunity to learn gap that exists within the Boston Public Schools. And then in that policy, it talks specifically of action steps that should be taken. We find that this proposal does exactly the opposite of the policy that the school committee, in its wisdom in June of 2006, has voted on. The policy would limit school choices for parents and students. It would remove student access to many of the programs that students need in order to excel. It, in many ways, will move us further toward a segregated school system. As you know, Boston Public Schools has been under an outstanding court order, and it is under this order to not to intentionally or unintentionally resegregate the school system. If you look at the dividing of the district into 5 zones instead of the 3 zones, if you look at that, you will see that these steps will in fact move us further toward a segregated school system. If we look at the history of many of the proposals that have been placed before the school committee, and we can go back to 2004, there was a task force around student assignment. And at that time, there were meetings throughout the district, throughout the city, as there are meetings that will go on now that started, I believe, this week throughout the city. And parents throughout the communities were clearly voicing their desire to have quality schools. They were not looking to resegregate the schools, they were looking for quality schools. And we are consistently being given proposals that in fact does not deal with quality education for all students, but in fact is dealing with a student assignment plan that denies access to parents to the schools that they feel are in the best interest of their children. So we are in opposition to this proposal, and we feel very strongly that the community summit that is being called by this group is clearly called to give parents in the community information, because we feel with that information, parents will be in a position to determine whether or not they think this plan is the best plan for them. We feel that it is not. It does not move our system forward. We are asking parents to come out, to get the information, to let their voices be heard, to become real advocates for their children, because we do not feel that the school department in these proposals is dealing with all communities in a fair and equitable way, nor are they addressing the bottom line issue, which is one of quality schools for all children in all districts, in all areas throughout the city.
Thank you very much. I first of all want to congratulate everyone who came out this evening to make an unequivocal statement that we will not turn the clock back.
That's right.
I was talking to Chuck Turner a few seconds ago, and I told him that a couple weekends ago I visited my homestead on Savin Street, and I saw reams of data that my mother had gathered. She was president of the Home and School Association. And the very top page stated that the city of Boston is found guilty of segregated education in the city of Boston, 1965. And that led to the so-called Racial Imbalance Act, which forced the city to take some steps to ensure that all students had equal opportunity to education. Well, here we are in 2009, and there are forces at play which are determined to turn the clock back. Increasing the number of zones decreased choice. Increasing the number of zones limits, by definition, where you could send your children. I believe that we have to not just make a strong statement about the resegregation of the Boston public school system, but we also have to organize to ensure that our children, our students in the Boston public schools, have the resources for high quality education in every neighborhood and every school in the city of Boston. Now we, Councilor Turner and I, and the entire city council, was presented with a budget that proposed some very serious cuts throughout many departments. But the Boston School Department represents 34% of the city's budget. Yet, with regards to personnel, it's being asked to cut. The cuts represent 67% of all cuts in personnel in city government. That is not fair. So I am deeply concerned that our priorities seem to be turning the clock back rather than fighting for improving the schools that we have in the city of Boston. And it's ironic, that we are hosting